Class, welcome back. This is the last video of the semester. Get your tissue out. This will be a tearjerker, I'm sure, for at least one of you. Um, Moving in, what we thought we would do with this is really provide an overview of the lessons in order to prepare you for the final. Now, all I'm going to do is guide you as to the variety of topics that we'll cover in the final exam. You have covered a lot of material. We're not going to cover everything, but there will be key components. And this is where I want you to be strategic in terms of the notes that you bring with you in preparation of the final exam. You don't want to have volumes of material because you'll get lost in it. But if you create a 2-page index of the topics, the formulas, the definitions, you're going to do very well. So remember that the final exam is on Wednesday, May 13th. We'll do it in the computer lab if we're allowed to. Otherwise, it's going to be take home, and we'll do it just during this session of time. And like I say, open notes are okay, and I'm just going to say 2 pages is what you should be using. The key items that we'll be covering are licensing, responsible charge of licensed engineer, contract elements, both legal and professional, and then standard of care. We can't say that enough. Indemnity, compensation approaches, risk management. We can't get away from risk management. We'll be talking about business planning, the 4 elements, and the marketing plan, 3 C's and 4 P's. Financials, we are going to have calculations on this exam. We're going to be looking at revenues, cost, profit, break-even multipliers, target multipliers, and so on. And then we are going to have a refresher on some of the contract award, because you are going to have a document that you'll be reviewing just like we did at the midterm. You had a document, you had to be able to read it, understand its purpose, and be able to navigate through certain components and questions that you'll be asked of. And understand that this is where it gets down to just basic project phasing and contract and RFP analysis. So remember, we've got to hang on to this foundation that we've built from the earlier part of this session. So what I've done here is I've just gone through all the takeaways on the engineering portion of the course, and I've put them up here in this slide presentation so you can see what items are going to be key for you to remember and keep on your notes. So going back to lesson 2, you should know the 4 planning phases of a project. So if asked, what does this document apply to, you should be able to answer that question and know if you're looking at an RFP or an RFQ or a proposal. Lesson 3B takeaways was where we talked about risk versus opportunity, cost versus benefit. Know the risks that design professionals face, and how do we calculate risk cost so that we can go after the most vulnerable or the highest value risk items of a project. Lesson 3A takeaways, the selection process, pros and cons of low bid, best value, or QBS, and know what QBS stands for. Pricing forms, fixed fee, time and materials not to exceed. Even though we talked about that in lesson 3A, it came up again in lesson 14. Lesson 11A and 11B. 11B was where we had the in-class exercise, the legal elements to make a contract, features of a professional contract different than the legal elements, scope, cost, schedule, and T&Cs, technical contract process elements, professional standard of care. We cannot say that enough. Know your professional standard of care. What is negligence, direct versus indirect? Indemnification, know that it is a transfer of liability. And then guarantee versus warranty. And think of it as our Home Depot example, how they ask you, would you like to buy the extended warranty? That means time element of the guarantee. The guarantee is the product will work. The warranty says the product will work for a set amount of time, regardless of rain or shine or how you use it, unless you drop it off of a train and drive over it 4 times. Lesson 12 takeaways. Why state registration? Responsible charge. This is huge. We spent a lot of homework time on it. We've had some quiz time on it. Know that we'll have some final exam interpretation on it. The professional engineering license category, what I call the PTA, the Practices, Title, and Act, or Authority Act licenses. requirements for obtaining a professional license, the 4 E's, and then knowing the EIT and civil PE requirements, license oversight, Greenwood's attributes of a profession. Now we can understand what it was he was talking about because we've gone through so many of these features, and ethics and obligations, and know that these things, in order to work, have to be a written code that we can all read, understand, and strive to follow. Lesson 13, boy, that standard of care keeps coming back. And benefits of planning. Remember how we spent some time talking about that. And then components of a business plan, which we touched on in the prior slide. And then lesson 14 takeaways, the budget plan, terms, formulas, profit margin, revenues, know all that, charging of services, how we do that in the various categories, labor charge components, and know there will be calculations. And so with that, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that you all do amazing on the final exam for EGR 4050.01, the role of the design professional in society. Good luck.